You're 8, and Mario is one of the 5 characters on the Smash roster you recognize, with the other 4 being Luigi, Peach, Bowser, and maybe Yoshi. You also just got the game. You just think it's funny to play as a giant ape. You're also one of the best, if not the best, or absolute worst Smash player in your friend group. There is no in between. Ha! Nerd! You really only played Link in Ultimate just so you can flex your knowledge on Breath of the Wild or mid-mat, even when it's clear that no one else around you cares? You miss when Samus could turn into Zero Suit Samus mid-match, and now you just play as normal Samus in hopes you will find some weird button combination in hopes to change her. You feel like you're either too cool to play Samus, desperate for their ults, emo, or all of the above. You want to play as Kirby for his suck ability, but you're too much of a Mario fan to play anyone else other than a Mario character. Also, you think it's funny to lay eggs on other characters off the side of the stage, even though it rarely works. You don't fully know how to play every character well like everyone suspects. You just think the hats Kirby gets are cool looking. It just sucks that all the people you play with play characters with boring hats for Kirby. You think Ultimates just can be melee again, so you just go to Fox for obvious reasons. Either that or you're furry. Also,
Happy Feet, Wombo Combo.
That ain't Falco.
That ain't Falco.
are you doing okay after what just happened? I guess it's revenge for the rat never getting nerfed. You feel bad for him, and or he's just your favorite Mario character. You're finally happy he escaped the full Mario clone and became his entirely new character, even though you're probably just gonna spam Green Missile. You know what move I'm probably going to make a reference to, but I will give you credit. You are slightly more tolerable if I'm playing Smash without any audio. You want to be the coolest person in the room, and even though half the time Captain Falcon mains are, they still can't land 99% of their Falcon punches. You wonder why no one trusts or likes you, but then you main Jigglypuff. You're a lonely 12-year-old who never had a real conversation with a girl, or a 6-year-old girl who just felt like playing a princess character after watching Frozen and Peach was the only one they resembled. You're rightfully upset about how Nintendo butchered her personality in this game, but you're still such a fan of her that you feel like you have to play her out of obligation. You think you're one of the most threatening players when you and your friends play, but in reality they just mainly fight each other while they find time to 3-stock you. You think you're better than everyone else because you're playing 2 characters at the same time and slightly know how to play them? This is until you realize that Pokemon Trainer and Pyra and Mithra are also multiple characters that can be played at the same time, but you just want to feel special and look like you have an actual reason to main DX trainers. You're tired of all the stereotypes on how weak your combos are, but you refuse to try to do anything about it because you think believing yourself in your character will make Sheik more powerful. You mainly play her just for the final smash. Other than that, you think you're too cool for basic Mario, but you still can't resist playing as someone close to Mario after they made Luigi not a clone anymore. Also, you're right in preferring to play him compared to actual Mario. You played him once as a joke, won somehow, and now you only played him just so you can brag even more about the fact you beat someone as a Peach too. Your friend plays Fox, and you used to too, but you wanted to still have a dynamic between you two, so you picked up Fox's partner. You think you're unique because you're different from all the other sword fighters because of how straightforward Marth is, unlike Link or Sephiroth, who have more complex and non-sword moves in their moveset, but that's not the reason you're unique. You're special because you're playing Marth. You don't play as Lucina for a playstyle, you play her because you like Fire Emblem Awakening. You were disappointed with how they were implemented back in the Ultimate, when you know a moveset featuring the mask from Majora's Mask would have been super cool! All your friends make fun of you for manning him, but you still have hope that one day you could prove that Ganondorf is an okay character to play as. You also don't want to admit how bad some of his moves are, but you will admit that him being a Captain Falcon clone made absolutely no sense. Your entire reason to play them is because they are in melee and that they have magic. Your entire reason to play them is because they are in melee and that they have fire. You've studied all the Fire Emblem lore and have come to some conclusion that out of a technicality, you to be the strongest character within Fire Emblem. That's when you realize that they didn't carry that over to the Smash, but now you play as Chrom just so you don't look like you wasted as much time studying Fire Emblem lore. You're that one friend who acts like they know everything about Nintendo history, so you name Mr. Game & Watch out of respect for the oldies, but in reality, you found out everything you know about Nintendo history through Wikipedia articles and Scott the Woz videos. You miss when you were the strongest character in Brawl, but you also prefer Ultimate's physics. You have created a split between what you truly are, even more than Mayday players that do Fox and Falco. The dude who doesn't really move, but does spam projectiles in the corner of the mat, so everyone but them gets hurt. They also act like they're good at the game. Same as the last one, but they're slightly more in the game than pit mains, and are also played by 30-year-olds instead of your 8-year-old cousin. No matter what part of the player base I talk about with her, I cannot talk about it on YouTube without this video getting immediately taken down. That says more about her than me actually saying it ever could. You want to be funny, but you also want to be interesting. So you went with Wario instead of Donkey Kong. Also, you probably just play him to fart on other players. You act like he's the coolest character to add it just because he's a third party with more serious weapons. But everyone keeps bringing up how Joker is also exactly that. You're also exactly how he got nerfed, but not in that way. You watched that one cutscene in Subspace Emissary and made him immediately, even though Cat the Falcon had the cooler cutscenes in that mode. You only play Charizard, play Squirtle when you get him after losing a stock, and you can't remember whether it's Bulbasaur, Venusaur, or Ivysaur. You also used the color trainer Ash because you thought they were the same character, yet Smash Lane are designed weirdly. You do not exist. You think if you play as Lucas, you could rant about how Mother 3 should be localized, and how Lucas is an underrated fighter at the same time! You only play him because you're a die-hard Sonic fan, or because you want an excuse to do a Sonic voice throughout the entire match. You think playing as a giant penguin is the funniest thing in the world? That swinging a giant hammer as a giant penguin against everyone else seems amazing. Now it's either that, or you keep trying to explain to your friends why the Pikmin actually do have strategy, but in reality, you just throw them out randomly so it doesn't matter. Also, you're still mad that Alphys has an alternate costume instead of an Echo Fighter. You want to play Mewtwo, but you also like cheating, so then you just stand there on this blue thing. None of your friends trust you because they're in fear of you know something they don't. The person who rants about how hot a random celebrity is, while also being the one person that nobody really hangs out with, but you hear horror stories about from one of your friends who stumbled across them. This is totally not from personal experience. You're a furry, but you're open enough about it to be both creepy and a bit funny. Pocket, 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 pocket. You only play him because he's Mega Man and that's it. He's more of a character that had to be there and is played by that one guy who thinks playing Mega Man is neat. You're either someone who thinks it's super funny that you're fighting somebody else with yoga, or you're a mom who chose Wii Fit because they're one of the few characters from one console that she recognizes, or that Wii Fit creator looks like you. You forget that you even made her, as well as everyone else forgets that they're even in the game. You probably only main Rosalina just to be the guy who mains Rosalina and nothing else. Either that, or you're just that much of a fan of Mario Galaxy, which isn't even a good reason considering that's my favorite Mario game, and I forgot that Rosalina was in Smash while I was writing the segment. You ignore every single time someone points out how flawed Little Mac is as a character. Every time someone mentions how bad his recovery is, or how the Little Mac main doesn't even know how to do smash attacks, they just tell you to shut up because they like him. He's your favorite Pokemon. That is the only reason. You played her once, realized how little skill it takes to play her really, but then just main her. You then forget it takes actual skill to be good with her, so now you're just an annoying obstacle to your friends instead of a challenge. You feel like the human version of a nerd emoji, not because you're legitimately playing as a yellow circle, but because you're the type of Smash player who would talk like the nerd emoji if it had a mind. You try to act super fancy, but your diet mostly consists of Monster Energy drinks and Lay's barbecue chips. You're one of the 2 people in the world who can make the Monado Awards actually benefit them instead of using them, and then wasting them like everyone else who shamefully plays him on accident. You don't main Bowser Jr. You just play your favorite Koopaling, but absolutely never play Bowser Jr. If your favorite isn't anyone other than Ludwig, you're wrong. You just wanted to remind people that Duck Hunt was in the game because nobody will remember without you being there. You're mainly a Street Fighter player who really understands Street Fighter, but you don't understand Smash Brothers that much, so you just hope and pray that your years of training Street Fighter could pay off here. You act like you're completely better than Ryu mains, and even if that's true, you won't shut up about how much better you are than Ryu mains. You're the type of person who would defend the little content Final Fantasy got before Sephiroth, not because you're thankful for Cloud even getting in, but because you just don't want to admit that everyone else is right. You mained Corrin because you didn't want to waste your money from DLC in Smash 4, so you just played them to the point where you mained them. So now you're just impressed on how Corrin is the character you play. You know exactly what I'm gonna say, but if you do still play an Ultimate, I am so sorry, but not at the same time. You live in your mom's basement and you have an anime profile picture. You just do it to laugh in the face of people who said he was too big for Smash, but you like stabbing people or being stabbed by Ridley's tail. You get made fun of for not playing Richter. You get made fun of for not playing Simon. You want to assert your dominance on Bowser mains by playing the other Bowser in the game. Isabelle is totally different from Villager, I swear! Said by every 25-year-old on Tumblr who has nothing better to do than to complain about Echo Fighters and Smash Brothers Ultimate. You forgot he was a Pokemon, but you do like WWE or AEW. You used to main Wario, but now you're playing Piranha Plant for the memes. You're gonna try to claim it's out of sympathy because you think he's an underrated enemy, but we all know your secrets. You want to play a top tier and Heat, so when Goku drops, you immediately went for him. Either that or you're a nerd! You try to convince people that Hero's Command Selection takes a serious amount of skills, but most of the time, it's really just luck and hopeful thinking. You have been a long time Banjo and Nintendo fan, so seeing Banjo and Zooey finally get in made you excited. Now, no matter how much people tell you that he is bad and or basic moveset, you refuse to listen to him because he's actually here. You want to be the guy that talks about video game history when it's clear that no one cares or even cares about the game you're talking about. This is different from the Link one because people actually know what Breath of the Wild is. Same exact thing as Corrin, where you just wanted to get your money's worth out of the DLC, but you play them even less and only care about the stage and maybe the music section. You're the one person in the world who's played ARMS, and you want the whole world to know. You're beyond human understanding. Even the worst Smash player in the world could pick up Steve and become one of the strongest players in the match. I've seen some people pick up Steve who didn't even know what Smash Brothers was, and I still didn't get last in the match. If you play Steve, you are a force to be reckoned with, and you are truly a god amongst mortals. Or you're 7 and you like Minecraft or something, I don't know. Hee sword. You're very defensive when it comes to people calling Pyro and Mythra anime sword fighters, but you will never admit that you are one. You either do not know any of the combos and you're sad that you can't play him to his full potential, or you do know the combos and you're upset that you wasted your life learning them. You've been waiting for this character for years, and despite everything people have told you, you still held on to your dream that Sora will make it in one day. Now you're thankful that he's finally here after so many decades. Thank you, Sakurai. You play as Peter Griffin, SpongeBob, or Obama, and no one else. You never admit that you are a main of Mii sword fighter because you are ashamed of that, unless you're playing as one of the ugliest Miis in existence, then it's fair game. You either mained them before Sans and nobody believes that you did, or you mained them after Sans and nobody trusts you. Either way, no one wants to be near you. You're really indecisive, aren't you?